Hello, friends of Numi Nation. Welcome to episode 30 and the day. Once again, it's going to be just me today. It's going to be kind of a brief wrap up to our fantastic and mind expanding Earth Day week. It was a real cool experience. We piloted and ran our first ever virtual global event. It was the Cardboard Challenge in honor of Earth Day, the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and we broke Twitter. Yeah, seriously, did you guys hear that yet? So we didn't break Twitter, but the hashtag that we were using and asking people to use to share their cardboard challenge creations for Earth Day, for the Earth Day Challenge, accelerated so quickly that Twitter's algorithm shut it down. So we have that claim to fame now too. There's so many firsts happening in the COVID era, and that is one of them. So thanks for all who tuned in and kind of participated in that. So the Friday end of week, end of day slot is kind of tough because people are kind of teched out, and I don't blame you. Between the Zoom meetings and the online learning and the webinars and this and that, you're screened out. So it's a tough time slot, but that's okay. I know that these sessions that we're delivering are for posterity, and if you don't watch them now, they're going to be over on YouTube and on newminds.tv, and they could have just the right gem or insight for the right person at the right moment. So that's no less important, right? It's no less important, absolutely. So I was thinking, how can we appropriately wrap up a week that was in honor of Earth, right? So all week long, our sessions for kids were focused on, STEAM projects, science, tech, engineering, arts, and math, that incorporated reusables, recyclables, cardboard, paper, simple things, right? A way of upcycling, whatever it might be. The thematic, thread that brought everything together this week was kind of echoing our appreciation for Earth, for Mother Earth, and for Earth Day as a celebration. So I thought, wow, I think a really cool way to wrap it all up this week would be to revisit something that I talked about, I think, in week 1 of newminds.tv, and it's just a tiny little excerpt from one of our webinars called The Beauty of Imperfect. I know I've mentioned it a few times. I apologize. There are just some good gems in there that are worthy of pulling back out. But there's one particular insight from that webinar that's so relevant this week, and it has to do with Earth. It has to do with a photo of Earth from space, and it was the first time that we human beings had seen ourselves kind of like in the third person, if you want to look at it that way. So the Voyager, I'm just going to go ahead and flip over to the photo, get everything right. So we've talked about Carl Sagan before. So he's an astronomer, cosmologist, philosopher, kind of really prolific, and he's passed, but he was really big about thinking about our place in the cosmos, right? And I'm going to show you. You've seen it before on the End of the Day show, but just kind of remind you. So I want you to look at, you won't even see it, in this, if you're on your phone or even on your computer, you're not even going to see it, but I'm going to point it out to you that Earth is actually in this picture, okay? This is a famous picture. It was taken by a satellite, the Voyager 1, had a deep space mission, and it was on its way, kind of leaving what we might call our neighborhood, our cosmic neighborhood. And the cosmologist Carl Sagan that I mentioned a minute ago, he had a request. He had a request of NASA. And could the Voyager 1 turn around before it left our neighborhood and snap a picture of Earth? And this is the picture. It's called the pale blue dot because the Earth is literally, you can't see it, but I think you can see my mouse, on this little, looks like a beam of light. There's literally a pale blue dot, it's appropriately described. And this is planet Earth. And it's just one of those things, like I said earlier, the first time that we human beings kind of saw ourselves in the third person. Like, that's us. That's us. And there's the overwhelming side of that, and in the way that it sort of diminishes our earthly ego. And there's the absolutely amazing, wonderful side of that, to echo back to Mr. Justin's morning show, the Friday morning show is all about wonders, right? If if this doesn't instill wonder in you, then I don't know what will. Just how magnificent the cosmos, that everything that we know is on this little pale blue dot, and that is like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of 0.00 to the 100th place percent of the cosmos. Not even that, right? So I want to read you what I want to kind of like present to you today for you to process and chew on is the quote from Carl Sagan that goes with this. And I know part of the screen is going to cover the quote itself, so I'm going to read it to you. And this is from a book that he wrote a few years later. He titled The Pale Blue Dot, and it was almost like his philosophical deep dive into this moment of wonder that this caused in him. And I'm going to kind of read it to you, and I want it to be your moment of wonder to wrap up Earth Week. And ask yourself, how does it help you appreciate Earth, number one, and how does it help you appreciate and even generate a sense of gratitude for the things that we have available to us, even at an individual level, right? So here it is. This is a quote from Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Wow. So I'm just going to let it sit for a minute before I try to fill the space with more words and reflection, because I want you to process it. So what do you think? What are you feeling? What's your reaction when you see that image and when you hear Carl Sagan's words about it? You know, it's really intended to have that double edge that I described earlier. You know, on the one hand, it's there to sort of humble us and realize that a lot of this self-aggrandizement as individuals and even as a collective is really out of proportion to our place in the universe on the one hand, right? But on the other hand, it's strange how simultaneously it can do both things. It humbles us, and then on the other hand, it really kind of highlights the miraculous of that's us on that mote of dust. And that's all this beautiful universe, all these wonderful experiences that we've had since the moment we were born, all happened there. All happened right there. How precious, you know, how special, how beautiful. And that's where kind of like the gratitude can be generated. So I think it's beautiful. I think it's a great contribution. It's interesting when scientists have kind of like that deep current of philosophical, even spiritual thought, where they can kind of help us contextualize science in a way that gives it broader meaning. And Carl Sagan was one of those. And that's what I wanted to leave you with this week, was that simple kind of meditation on planet Earth as we wrap up Earth Day week. It sounds a strange phrase, but it is Earth Day week for us at New Minds TV. And this, I had the honor and privilege of kind of being the final word for the week. And so that's what I wanted to do, was leave you with that sort of deep meditation on our place in the universe and this precious spot and moment, and what can we do to cherish it and make the most use of it, of our time on this earth. All right. Thanks, folks. Thanks for tuning in to New Minds TV, the home of real inspired learning. I'll have some more guests back next week to continue the podcast thread. Some big announcements coming as well about New Minds TV in general and what we're calling Season 2. I don't want to give too much away, but coming up soon is the kind of like the next iteration of New Minds TV based on everything that's happened in the last month plus. So exciting times. So hey, pursue your passions, make them your talents, find a way to be happy, find a way to contribute. Have a great night, everybody.